Right, here's the new wheel bearing kit. Comes with a new snap ring. I've had this pack open, so I had to get that out to check sizes. Got a new circlip, new nut, and obviously a new bearing. Now I'm praying these go in a bit easier than the old ones came out. At long last, I have one new bearing in. Struggled a little bit. I'll show you what I did. I made like a makeshift bearing press. What I've been doing is I'll put the new bearing in on the shaft. It's a bit hard to do this actually with no hands. So I'll place the bearing in. I'll put the one bearing on the outside, an old bearing on the outside, right? And then on the outside of that, so this is how I've done it. Using an old spring compressor, a threaded bar that runs through the middle of a spring compressor. I placed the new bearing in the lip, and I've got an old bearing. I've got a bearing splitter. I went through there like that, and then I put that on the outside, and then I did the same on the opposite side. So I used the old bearing and another one, and then I'll put the back end of the spring compressor on the back of that, and then tighten it down, and it pulled the bearing in on itself and back end seated in. Put the circlip in, job done. So there's one bearing in. I'm going to do the other side now. Right, let's reassemble the brakes. Now, from memory, the big ends at the top, the small ends at the bottom. They sort of sit like that with all the other stuff in the way. So if I get the hardware pack, take this apart before you put it on and pack it out with some grease, that way around. Top one on. Bottom one. And then that is adjusted like that. I'll try and get it to be the same as the other side. That is about the same as the other side, to be fair. Like that. Put the hub on, then the disc, then the carrier, then the caliper, and then the wheel.
The next day.
So it's the next day. I'm out here early in the morning, hopefully before the rain. As you saw, I've got everything rebuilt on both sides. All I need to do now is put the hub in. I can't get the hub in yet. I need a press to get the hub in. Previously, when I've done this on other cars, you can take the rear end off, so I can just remove this like rear knuckle section. I could take it to my granddad's garage or somewhere else, and I can use a hydraulic press to press them in. That's what I've done before. On this car, the rear trailing arm is like one complete piece, and I don't want to take it out because it involves removing pretty much everything at the back. So I've ordered a bearing press off Amazon last night. It's due to be here before 1 o'clock this morning. 1 o'clock this afternoon, sorry. So I'm just waiting for that. While I am waiting for that, I'm going to tackle a couple of the other issues. So another reason the car failed its MOT was the horn doesn't work. Now I've disconnected the battery, so it's not going to work now because I'm going to mess around. But I'm just going to explain what I'm going to do. I've checked all the relays in the car, and I've checked the fuses, and all the horn fuses and relays are working. They're all fine. It came to my memory that the steering wheel was off centre, and I was in a rush, and I detached it and put it back on again. However, I don't think I reconnected the horn in the back of the airbag. So I'm going to take the airbag off. I'm just going to check out the wires in the back there. If it's not that, then I'm not really sure what it is. I'll have to look further, but I think it's something behind here. To take this off is not hard. It's around the back. If we have a look, you've got a hole just there, and you've got the same on the opposite side, just there. And inside there is a T30 Torx. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the steering halfway, like that, so I can access. I've got a T30. I'm just going to go in the back with that and undo it. So give me a sec while I do that. With them two undone, bring the steering wheel back to the front. Now you should always disconnect the battery. I said I've already done it here. I have done this sort of job without disconnecting the battery, and I've always got away with it, but there are plenty of stories out there of people that haven't. The last thing you want is an airbag going off in your face. One, because it hurts, and two, because you have to replace it. It costs money. So disconnect your battery, just lean your airbag forward, and then you've got a couple of wires in there. Looking at this, mine does seem to all be attached, so I'm going to have to investigate a bit further. Also coming today is my shock absorbers. So let's take these ones off. They're already undone at the bottom. Just got to do them in the top, just so we're ready to put the new ones on as soon as they get here. Taking them off is pretty straightforward. It's one bolt. There's one bolt down there at the bottom, and then the other bolt is underneath this carpet here. So to get to that, what I have to do is put my seat all the way forward. Need to clean up in here as well. I'm going to remove the seat belt just to give me a bit more access, and then I'm going to bring that forward. So that's as much room as you get. And what I need to do now is peel this bit of carpet back, and the strut top is about there underneath that carpet. So I'm going to put my phone down and I'll peel this back. Just about get to it. Let's see if you can see. It's just down there. Just there, look. So I can just about get to it. I'm going to get them, I think they're 13s, maybe 10s. I can't actually see from here, the camera's in the way. Get those two bolts off. There's one behind that dome, and there's obviously one in front there, and then the shock absorbers will drop out. They're both done at the top, and with a little bit of a wiggle, that should come out. I think the little rubber seal is holding it in. Apologies for not filming it. It started raining. My delivery didn't turn up until 4:30, so I've not really had time to set the cameras up and stuff. But hubs in, hubs pressed in, press tool really easy. Just bolt it through and tighten it up. It's so simple. I don't know why I didn't buy one sooner, to be honest. Next thing, get the drive shafts back in, and then disc, brake carrier, brake, wheel, done. Shock absorbers have turned up as well. They're really cheap. I'm not going to show them off, but they will be better than what I've got before. It's like we've gone back in time, and I'm working out the back of the Range Rover again. But here we have the two shock absorbers, old and the new. These are very cheap. It says they are premium. I hope they are premium. Just what I could find on Amazon. I could get next day delivery on a Sunday. Basically, that's the trouble. They don't come with a top mount, so I need to reuse the top mounts off my old shocks on the new ones. And I've already undone this nut. It's not the hardest thing to do in the world. I've just got a 16 ratchet spanner. You can use a normal spanner, but that'll go on the nut like that. And then I've got some grips just to hold this section there. So that bit there's got a couple of flats on it. So you just hold the flats of that, if I can, and then obviously undo the top with a ratchet, and then it's reversal to put it back on again on the new shocks. I am actually going to reuse the dust boots as well, because why not? So I'm just going to give these a quick clean. I'm going to reuse them and the little bump stops as well. I think we can already see the problem with these. This is how long the shock absorber is meant to be, and this is how long these are. So these have got almost no return on them now. So I'm going to pull this up all the way up. So that's that standing proud. I'm going to push it down with ease, one hand, like that, and it's not returning back up. So there's obviously no rebound in that whatsoever, so that's not absorbing any shocks at all. Even these cheap and cheerful ones, I'm going to struggle to push this down, and I can't get it any further than that, and I let go and it's going to return straight back up again. So that's what should be happening. So these will make a massive improvement to the ride. I can't believe I didn't do this before, to be honest. Bump stop, little washer, dust shield, top mount. These are the same both sides. They are actually a bit grubby. I wouldn't mind replacing them, but don't have the bits at the minute. Do that up finger tight, just enough so you can nip the end of it with the grips. Better grip on it. Nice. That's one rebuilt. Go back on the cart. Awesome. And these can go back up through that hole there at the top and then bolt it back into the bottom. But I'm going to leave it off at the bottom for now, just because I want the extra room for the drive shafts. So here is the little puller kit I've ordered. It's just turned up. I've gone to use it. Well, I have used it. This is how it comes. So these screw onto the end of your drive shaft. So for me, that's the one I need. No, M22, that one there. So that screws onto the end of your drive shaft. You put that through the hole, and then onto the back of there, you screw this puller. That sits on your hub. You wind that, and it pulls your drive shaft through. In theory, I tried doing this with this, and let me show you what happened to the shaft. So I don't know if you can see that, but that's not straight anymore. So this doesn't fit properly in the hub. So my hub is got like a rounded edge, and there's no smooth surface for it to sit on. And because it's got a bit missing, all it wants to do is just kink over. Now I don't know what the purpose for this bit missing is. I'm guessing it's so that you can get a spanner in, and so when that's pulled in there, you can get your spanner in and you can loosen that off. But that means that on this car in particular, that's unusable. Thankfully, and just by stroke of luck, in this end of the puller, there's a bit of thread there, and that fits my slide hammer. So I just put that on the end of there. Just do it. So I put that on the end of there. I screwed that onto the end of my drive shaft, and then I screwed my slide hammer onto the end of there, and just basically hammered it through, and that did the trick quite easily. Don't buy cheap, because look at that, it's bent. I'll try and bend that back, and maybe I can use it again. Maybe I can't. Maybe it's too compromised. But I know I can't use it on this car anyway. I will keep it. We'll see. If not, we'll send it back. But the drive shafts are in. The nuts are on loose. All I've got to do now is put the car back down on the ground. Put the car in gear, handbrake on, and then we'll tighten those nuts up. And then it's done, finally. And there she is, all back on the ground. I've just had to take it for a little test drive, just to make sure it was running okay, and it is. It's driving 100 times better than it was before. Those shock absorbers really were knackered. I can't believe I didn't change them before now. Basically, just to elaborate, I didn't record it because I was rushing after work. Getting the rear wheel, getting the hub bolts back on isn't that difficult. Best thing to do is just put the wheel on, put the hub on, put the hood, pull the drive shaft through, put the hub nut on, put the wheel on, put the car on the ground, so do both sides at the same time, and when the car's sitting on the ground, then tighten the nut up. So you've got the handbrake on, you've got the car in gear, and you can get all the torque on it, and you can tighten that nut up. And that's it really. A lot harder than it should have been. This car, it's a bit of a love-hate relationship. I do love it, but it does throw up some problems. But I'm glad it's done. Like I say, it just took me a little bit longer than I expected. The eagle-eyed viewers might notice that I've also added a little front splitter to the bumper, and I've given that a little rough repair as well where that was all scuffed. So I sanded that down, gave it a quick lick of paint, and I've added this splitter onto it. This is only rubber. It's stuck on with 3M tape, and I've put a couple of screws in there as well just in case, because it is low. And the idea of that, I mean, aesthetically it looks a bit better, but it's also going to hopefully protect my bumper a little bit more from speed bumps and curbs and stuff like that. So I like it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if any other things you can think of that I should do to this car. I really want a little boot spoiler. I want like a lip spoiler, but there isn't much available to buy, so I might have to try and make one myself. I just want like a little duckbill on the back. Nothing crazy. I just don't like what's for sale out there. But I think that's the next mod for this car. The next job for this car is definitely going to be the rear arches. So they're both peeling away with rust. This side's not as bad as the other, but yeah, rear arches and this cork panel here need to get replaced, and then the car's pretty much rust free. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Might have been a bit of a long one, but just so much to do, so much to go through. I've got a bit of news for the channel as well. I've taken on a unit, so I'm going to be moving into a unit in the next sort of couple of weeks, maybe next week I'll be in the unit. I'll give you a little tour around. Massive size. I'll be able to get all the projects in there. I'll be able to strip the Range Rover down, strip the van down, get it painted. I want to do a paint booth in there. I want to get a ramp in there. So yeah, stay tuned. Loads more coming. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like the video, please click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Subscribe if you like good looking BMWs. Subscribe if you like Range Rovers. Subscribe if you like Volkswagen vans, and plenty more. But yeah, thank you very much.